Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel Cap Social Network. So, brothers, let me ask you a question. How many times have you met a sister that happened to be, I'm talking about fine as hell, and drop dead gorgeous? Things at first for you to hit it off, the two of you just right. I'm talking about from when y'all first laid eyes on each other to when y'all started conversating to eventually be able to have the opportunity and privilege to take out on a date, even hit it for the first time, only to find out that that woman may have had a criminal history of getting into all kinds of trouble with the law, or to find out because it's a well-known fact of how some of the most beautiful women out there, specifically beautiful black women, are always some of the most problematic. With that being said, how many times have you met an extremely beautiful sister or black woman only to have sex with her right after you were to meet her or whatnot? In some cases, within the same day. For instance, you may have ran into one at either a bar or nightclub, night spot, and got lucky enough to hit it, only for your main objective and intent to was to be able to have sex with her just for bragging rights. For some of you who may like to brag about how many women you may have hit or smashed to your homeboys, I'm gonna have a bragging rights, or just to prove how you can be able to get any woman you want, whether it may be either taking them out on a date, strictly just taking them out on a date, or in some cases, both taking them out on a date only for it to lead to you being able to either make love to one or have sex with one. Because making love and having sex are, in my personal opinion, two completely different things. Anyway, you may have ended up having sex with a certain female that you may have happened to meet, because most guys nowadays like to, instead of approaching women physically or in person, they prefer to meet women through social media apps by DMing them and arranging to hook up with women, what it may be, either going out on dates, arranging to going out on dates with some, or inviting them over in some cases to their place. The guys that invite some women over to their places and to eventually be able to have sex with those women. Anyway, you may have had certain women that you may have gotten a chance to have your way with sexually, fellas, and eventually to try to end things with those women in the sexual encounters, after having a sexual encounter with those women, only for those women to continually stalk you. Because back in the days, women used to like to stalk guys by hiding in bushes, for instance. Now women have gone as far as stalking guys virtually, stalking guys online. Some people call it cyber stalking. And excuse me, that's my phone. It was an update that just was successful on my phone. In case some of you may have heard that T-Mobile sound. Anyway, and back to the video. My point of saying this is how some of today's black women are dangerous, very dangerous and unpredictable, to the extent where some, after trying to break up with women that sometimes you may have had the opportunity to have sex with, only for that to be your main goal, and then eventually usually end things with the woman. Some will go as far as appearing on your job, stalking you on your job nowadays, especially if they know if you may give them information of exactly where you work. Not only the name of the company you or employer you may work for, but may end up going, if you give them the actual address on or where you work, some will go as far as stalking you on your workplace. May even in some cases have a, a male relative, especially that male relative may happen to be one of these goons, one of these Ray Rays or Pookies to come to your workplace and actually confront you, that threaten to murder you, or in some cases fight you, just because he may have felt like you used his sister after her telling him, giving him a mouthful of things that you may have done to her. She may have accused of you doing to her, because it's also a well-known fact that women lie a lot. She may have not only told her brother or whichever other male relative how you use her sexually, but she may have even said, even if you didn't try to rape her, she may have added also that you tried to while having sex with her, forcefully had sex with her. In other words, may have raped her. And because that, with that being said, may have caused her male relative to come to your workplace to confront you with a weapon. On top of that, there are quite a bit of women nowadays that are carrying weapons, just as many almost as men that are carrying weapons, to the extent where guys can't even approach women at all, much less greet a woman out in public, because there are so many that are masculine, carrying masculine energy, to the extent, like I just stated, of carrying pistols, assault rifles. And that's one reason I would say why more men are refraining from approaching women, and have approached from approaching women, refrain from approaching women in person, due to a lot of black women's violent nature. There are some cases, has been several cases in the news where guys, brothers may have arranged to meet up with black women after DMing them and texting them on social media or dating apps, and things to eventually lead to them meeting up in person. And the guys, in some cases, some brothers may have gotten the opportunity to have sex with some of these same women, only for these same women to have those guys murdered by having sex with them after meeting up with them. And it's just a prime example of why a lot of us brothers nowadays need to be more careful and alert on behalf of the types of women that we usually approach, because there are so many unpredictable women out there, so many that have went as far as vandalizing guys' houses, from shattering some guys, if the guy may have a house windows, to spray painting all over his house as well, and even going as far and doing worse than that by burning guys' houses. Some women, some black women that either have done time for doing so, or are doing time right now for an extended period of years on behalf of things of that nature. Anyway, because I have said a mouthful, and without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to show clips all on behalf of TikTok, the social media platform TikTok, on behalf of why a lot of us brothers, a lot of us black men need to be more aware, more mindful, more careful of the types of females we may encounter to approach. It should be, with that being said, a total of around 5 or 6 clips at the most. So here they are, folks.
y'all see this comment right here? Look, whoever you are just like me. Did you know that? You sound just like me, baby. Because that's exactly what I would do. I'm going to call the police before I do what I got to do. Understand me? I'm not playing out here. And I suggest other women start thinking twice about that, because with all these situations going on of men getting angry and disappointed when you don't give them the attention that they want, this right here, you're probably going to have to do. And trust me when I say there will be no hesitations over here.
The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster is the horror movie that 2023 absolutely needed. And it's the horror movie that the culture needed for sure. Because we can't rely on Jordan Peele to do everything for us, you feel me? But The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster is a horror drama that was written and directed by Bomani J. Story. Now, the film is described as like a modern day reimagining of the Frankenstein story, which off the bat is extremely interesting to me. It stars Leia DeLeon Hayes as a teenage girl who believes that death is just a disease that can be cured. So when her 17-year-old brother gets brutally murdered, she takes it upon herself to go through a bunch of experiments to try to bring him back to life. Now, I'm pretty sure movies like Pet Sematary have also shown you that sometimes dead is better. But this is a horror movie, so people don't listen. She manages to revive her 17-year-old brother's dead body, but she doesn't get her brother back. What she gets back is a monster that's hell-bent on revenge. The movie premiered at the South by Southwest Film Festival, and it was also at the Overlook Film Festival too. And as of right now, the responses to this film have been phenomenal. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, critical acclaim already, and the movie don't come out officially till June 9th. Listen, I love a good horror movie. I love a good black horror movie. And I love a good reimagining of a classic story without copying and pasting your original story and without just simply rebooting it. I love when they can do a new twist on something that's classic. That right there to me is creativity. Trailer looks promising. I'm very excited for this flick. Are you going to see The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster? Let me know in the comments below. Because on June 9th, I'm going to be tuned in for sure.
So let me tell y'all about the day I got sentenced to them 10 years. So I went to trial. My trial was 2 days. I lost trial March the 13th of 2012. So because it was my first time being convicted of a felony, the state had to take me through a PSI, which is a pre-sentence investigation, which means they give you time to get your character witnesses up, to have people speak on the type of person you is, so that you can present yourself as more than the crime you've committed or the crime they've convicted you for. And it gives the judge a chance to see, you outside of the crime in front of you. So I didn't get sentenced until May 7th. So this whole time I'm waiting up until get sentenced, right? I got everybody in my ear and they like, you went to trial and you lost, like your max is 30, and they can sentence you up to your max, and my max was 30. So the judge had the discretion to sentence me from 1 day all the way up into 30 years. And mind you, I had a minimum mandatory because I had a drug charge of 7 years. So the judge can sentence me to nothing less than 7 years by law. So I'm like, I'm saying? They like, you gonna get anywhere from like 20 to 25. And my attorney is like, we're just looking around the 20s. You know what I'm saying? We're looking around the 20, the 25. So I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Like, I'm freaking out. I couldn't sleep. I was stressed out. I couldn't eat. I was losing weight left and right. And then it got to the point, because I have a relationship, you know what I'm saying, with God. So I got to the point that it's just like, it is what it is. So this whole time I'm waiting up and to get sentencing, the day comes and they call me out of the cell and it's like, it's time to get sentenced. So everybody knows what I'm going through. So you got people on every quad, they on the door, they on the windows, like, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be okay. Keep your head up. Like, I'm talking about, it was kind of emotional because they was like all rooting for me and everything. You got to go check my YouTube out to see the full video. So let me tell y'all about.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show around a good 3 more clips, all behalf of how and why, both how and why more black men need to be, once again, more aware and more alert of the types of women that they need to be more cautious of not approaching, due to the simple fact that there are so many unpredictable and dangerous black women out there. Like I said earlier in the video, women who nowadays just as many almost who carry weapons, firearms, as it is men. And so many stories, once again, ladies and gentlemen, of how, and I'm referring specifically to my brothers who may follow me, of how there will be brothers that will usually arrange to meet up when black women offer meeting them off of usually a dating app, only for those guys to never come back alive, only for those guys to usually end up or wind up murdered after being set up, usually by a black woman. And in some instances, being able right after the guy may have become intimate with the woman, would usually, or in some cases, some guys, some brothers were lucky enough to survive after being set up by some black women. And some of the most gorgeous, the scary part about it is it's usually almost the most gorgeous black women that any brother pretty much would want to get with, want to hook up with. And some of the most, not only some of the most gorgeous, but some of the most shapely, with very nice sized breasts, nice sized posteriors that are usually some of the most unpredictable, some of the most dangerous, that have guys in most cases usually set up and murdered in the worst case scenarios. There are also black women, several black women that are responsible for a lot of brothers being incarcerated too, due to how some of them may have caused fights and arguments between a guy that they may have dated that's incarcerated now, only to lie on that guy to another guy, what it may have been to a male relative or a former boyfriend or a baby daddy. Most of the cases is used because of a baby daddy. And that's why I suggest, like I suggested in previous videos and prior videos, for guys not to ever settle for being a stepdaddy, even if you don't end up being a stepdaddy. In other words, even if you may not marry a woman with kids from a previous relationship or marriage, I still would not recommend you date a woman with kids from multiple relationships, because of sometimes how that could lead to guys becoming, in the worst case scenario, either locked up due to altercations usually they may have with the baby daddy, or murdered. Because think about how many guys, as I speak, how many brothers are in the grave, y'all won't ever see this world anymore due to a woman, how dangerous and unpredictable some black women are. Anyway, I'm going to show some more clips, around a good 2-3 more clips on behalf of this topic and for more elaboration. So here they go.
To learn, especially when you're young, is how to control yourself when people are playing in your face. This is Brianna Connor Washington. She is from Detroit, Michigan. Now, Brianna had a friend that turned into her boo thing. His name was Maurice. Now, Maurice is also from Detroit. The both of them had known each other for a little while, and then they started canoodling and being together. And so they were on again, off again. And their relationship was a little tumultuous. Like, they definitely make up to break up. That's all they do. First they love me, then they hate me. That's the game for fools, right? So it's February 2019. They had broken up, but in Bree's eyes, they were trying to get back together. I mean, that was the conversation that they were having, right? So my girl is at home. She is scrolling on Instagram, and she sees that Maurice posted an Instagram story. Opens up the Instagram story. It's him with a bottle, not just any bottle, a bottle that she bought and left over at his house. He's drinking, taking shots, and dancing. And what does she hear? A female in the background. And of course, at this point, she starts angry texting him, like, are you playing in my face? Like, I thought we were supposed to be getting back together. And you sitting here like, this is a slap in the face. You know what? I'm going to pull up. And this whole time, Maurice is not even like responding. Like, now you ignoring me. And so she decides that she's going to call her homegirl. She's going to call her best friend, and they're going to pull up. So then he started responding. He was like, don't you come over to my house. Do not pull up. This girl is just a friend. You tripping. And she's like, no. I am already on the way. She even calls his roommates. It's like, y'all better make sure that everything is together, because as soon as I get there, I'm coming with all the smoke. I'm not playing with him. She pulls up to Maurice's place, and he is like, what do you want? He comes outside. She's like, no, bring the girl out here. Bring the girl out here. They pull off for a second. She pulls back up. Maurice pulls Brianna's hair and then pulls one of her tracks out. So she gets out one of her pocket knives and she gets to swinging. She stabbed this man one time. He lets out a huge and then she puts him in the car and drives him to the hospital. Now, when she got to the hospital, she knew she was in trouble. Like, at this point, what are you going to do? She tells the hospital worker, I don't know. I think maybe like a car door hit him and I think he'll be fine. Turns out he passes away a couple of hours later. She is nowhere to be found, and the police are involved because now it's a homicide. When she took this man to the hospital, she left her name and number, so it did not take long for the police to find her. And when she's questioned by the police, she's like, I didn't mean to hurt him. I didn't do anything. Somebody else did it. Okay, maybe I did do it. Okay, but I didn't stab him. Like, it was just a little pokey poke. Maurice was stabbed one time, and it wasn't a slash. It wasn't a poke. It was a stab that was 1.5 inches deep, and it cut some major arteries, so he ended up passing away. Now, Bree tried to do battered woman. She tried to say that, it was an abusive situation, but the court wasn't hearing that, and she got charged with second-degree murder. The stories that she told the police to try to get out of this was crazy. You're going to have to listen to Sisters Who Kill podcast to get all the details.
Story, the ex-Miami Queen Pin of Vonda, black girl Vonda Dowling. She was born in 1963. She was the daughter of James Big Jake Dowling. She was a powerful crime figure in Miami during the 90s. She was a queen pin and leader of Vonda's gang. Her gang terrorized the streets of Miami with violence, such as murder, attempted murder, and drug trafficking. Vonda's gang even had a war with the Boobie Boys, led by Kenneth Boobie Williams. Even though she was a woman, she held her own in a gang dominated by men. A lot of people say she was even more dangerous than some of the men. Vonda was doing her thing in Miami for 15 years. She raked in millions selling work and got her rivals knocked off when they got in her way. She was fearless, tough, and didn't back down from nobody. She was arrested several times for aggravated battery. On March 29, 1987, on 2nd Northwest Avenue, she got into a fight where she beat somebody up with a bat, drove away, and came back and beat the person with a bat again. In 1992, she tried to run over a man with her car after they got into a fight. She would eventually link up with a known gangster / kingpin known as Bunky Brown. She would join his organization and rose in the ranks very quickly. Once Bunky went to federal prison, she took over his organization. She would eventually start selling rocks when a Haitian man named Tony taught her how to cook. From 1985 to 1999, Vonda maintained a trap house on 11th Terrace and 2nd Northwest Avenue in Overtown. Her spot stayed open 24/7 and 7 days a week, only selling powder and rocks. She ran several apartments out of one building. One apartment was to stash the product, and the other apartment was to sell the product. Two men named Ra Ra and Bam would serve as her enforcers if people got out of line. She was a savvy businesswoman and an equal opportunity employer. On a good day, her workers could make $15,000 to $20,000. She was the one who sold weight to bigger buyers. She would even deal drugs on a 10-speed bike at times. In 1986, she would be linked to her first body when a man named Michael McBride would move in on her territory. She paid Ra Ra $10,000 and a half a brick to knock Michael off. On April 22nd, 1986, Ra Ra would knock Michael off on the balcony. By 1993, her gang and the Boobie Boys would start a war against each other. Vonda felt Miami wasn't big enough for the two of them. In a 5-year period to 1998, 62 people were dead and 32 other people was wounded. November 14, 2003, she was arrested and given 20 years. October 11, 2019, she was released from prison.
With that being said, and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you first and foremost like the video, you comment on it, you share it. Last but not least, you subscribe to the channel. So next time, you guys have a good one.